This is literally every designer's worst nightmare. Feedback, feedback, and more feedback.
यार कभी ऐसा हुआ है कि तुमने एक डिज़ाइन पर आवर स्पेंड किए हों थिंकिंग यस दिस इज इट, यू आर ऑलरेडी इमेजिनिंग द प्रेज, द थम्स अप, बस अब तो ग्रीन लाइट मिलने वाली है, राइट? एंड देन यू गेट समथिंग लाइक दिस डजंट फील राइट, या फिर मिलता है वो क्लासिक वेक फीडबैक, इट डजंट लुक्स गुड, बिना किसी एक्सप्लेनेशन के। आई नो फ्रस्ट्रेटिंग लगता है, राइट? बट what if I told you there is a way to actually make feedback work in your favor, even when it's confusing or harsh? In today's video, I'll share my best strategies for turning critique into a tool for growth. And trust me, I've got real life examples जो आप relate कर पाओगे. And what's the most confusing feedback you have ever received? Drop me in the comments below. Chapter 1: Why Feedback Matters. Let's be real. फीडबैक isn't just a part of design, it's a lifelong skill जो हर फील्ड में काम आएगा। इन डिज़ाइन फीडबैक का मतलब सिर्फ लुक्स इंप्रूव करना नहीं होता, इट्स अबाउट क्रिएटिंग सॉल्यूशंस दैट वर्क एंड मेक अ डिफरेंस। एंड ऑफन वी आर सो क्लोज टू आवर वर्क दैट वी मिस द ऑब्वियस फ्लॉज। लेट्स टेक एन एग्जाम्पल। अर्ली इन माई करियर when I designed a logo that looked perfect on screen, but when I printed on small business card, it was too detailed. तब मेरे सीनियर ने मुझे स्केलेबिलिटी का इंपॉर्टेंस समझाया। दैट फीडबैक वॉजंट जस्ट अबाउट फिक्सिंग अ लोगो, इट्स completely changed how I approach the design. So, if I just need to recap that, remember, feedback isn't about pointing out mistakes, it's about helping you see what you might have missed. Chapter 2: Understanding different types of feedback. Not all feedback is the same, and understanding the difference is a key to knowing how to respond. Let's break it down. First, constructive feedback. This is the feedback that gives you a clear direction. Like, try increasing the contrast for readability, यानी एक actionable advice. Second, subjective feedback. ये feedback personal taste के बेस पे होता है. Like, I don't like this color. It's more about their preferences than actual design principles. Third, unhelpful feedback. And then there is a feedback that's weak, like this doesn't look right. जब ऐसा feedback मिले, it's your job to dig deeper and clarify करो what exactly doesn't feel right. Let's take a real life example that if imagine you are working on a website redesign and suddenly every team member has a different opinion. One person says make the header bigger, another says no, make it smaller, and someone else says try a more neutral color. So you're caught between all these opinions and it's impossible to please everyone. So, the takeaway or the life hack is, number 1, align feedback with the project primary goal. Politely say, let's focus on which suggestion aligns best with our main objective, like making the site more user friendly. I'll tell you why this works. Filtering feedback based on the project goals help you avoid unnecessary changes and keep you focused on what matters. Chapter 3: How to approach feedback. When you first receive feedback, it's natural to feel defensive. But before reacting, try this approach. Pause and listen. Instead of jumping to defend your design, take a deep breath and listen carefully to what's being said. Also, clarify questions. If the feedback isn't clear, ask specific questions like which part doesn't work for you. This helps you understand the problem better. Okay, now let's take an example. Let's say you have created a logo and someone from another department who isn't a designer says it doesn't look dynamic enough. They are using a vague terms without much context. So, the life hack or the takeaway is instead of dismissing non designers' feedback, ask them for details. Like, what do you mean by dynamic? Are you looking for something more modern or colorful? I'll tell you why this works because non designers often look at design from user perspective. This hack helps you extract insights that align with how to end users may see your work. Chapter 4: How to filter feedback, knowing what to take and what to leave. Not all feedback should be acted on. Here is how to filter what's useful. First, align with project goals. Does the feedback help meet the main goals? If yes, it's worth considering. Second, check for relevance. Is the feedback from someone who understands the project's objective? Then target audience feedback is often more useful or valuable. Third, look for patterns. If multiple people point out the same issue, it's probably worth addressing. Let's take a real life example. After a feedback session, you have suggestions from clients, managers, and teammates. You are unsure what's worth implementing. So, the takeaway and the life hack is use the three-way filter to filter feedback by asking: first, is it practical or can it actually be implemented within project constraints? Second, is it purposeful? Does it serve the project's main goal? And is it proven? Does it have a valid reason behind it, like user data? Only acted on feedback that checks off at least two of these filters. I'll tell you why these works. These filters help you prioritize changes that are practical, purposeful, and validated. Chapter 5: How to give constructive feedback to others. जूनियर्स और फ्रेशर्स जो डिज़ाइन इंडस्ट्रीज़ में एंटर करते हैं उनके लिए फीडबैक लेना और समझना थोड़ा सा चैलेंजिंग हो सकता है। मेरे करियर की शुरुआत में मुझे भी ऐसा फीडबैक मिलता था जो मुझे बिल्कुल क्लियर नहीं होता था। इंस्टेड ऑफ हेल्पिंग मी, फीडबैक ने मुझे और ज़्यादा कंफ्यूज कर दिया और इसी कन्फ्यूज़न में कई डिज़ाइनर्स अपने पोटेंशियल को रियलाइज़ करने में टाइम लेते हैं। सो वाई कंस्ट्रक्टिव फीडबैक मैटर्स? Giving clear and constructive feedback isn't just about pointing out what's wrong. It's about guiding someone to understand why something isn't working and how they can make it better. एक अच्छे सीनियर या मेंटर की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी होती है कि वो फीडबैक को इस तरीके से दें जो जूनियर्स के लिए हेल्पफुल और एक्शनेबल हो। Let's take an example, the messy layout scenario. Let's say a designer who is having a 1 year of experience worked on a layout and it feels a bit cluttered to you as a senior. A general statement like, "This looks messy," isn't really helpful, right? Actually, it might leave them feeling lost and demotivated. मैं ये मिस्टेक अपने अर्ली करियर में कई बार एक्सपीरियंस कर चुका हूँ। सीनियर्स कहते हैं ये प्रॉपर नहीं लग रहा है, मेक इट क्लीनर, बट वॉट डज दैट मीन? मुझे समझ ही नहीं आता कि एग्जैक्टली चेंज क्या करना है। आई टेल यू द बेटर अप्रोच. Instead of just saying this is messy, try breaking down the problem. For example, let's simplify this section by reducing the number of elements. So, तुम्हारा फोकस यहाँ पे कॉल टू एक्शन पर होना चाहिए ताकि यूजर्स को इजीली पता चले कि उन्हें क्या करना है. By providing this kind of specific suggestions like reducing elements, organizing sections or improving spacings, you are giving them a direction, a clear path to follow. ये फीडबैक सिर्फ प्रॉब्लम पॉइंट आउट नहीं करता है बल्कि एक सॉल्यूशन भी ऑफर करता है जो जूनियर्स के लिए इजी टू इम्प्लीमेंट है. ओके, एक सिंपल फार्मूला जो मैं यूज़ करता हूँ फीडबैक देने के लिए, आई थिंक दैट वुड बी वेरी हेल्पफुल. What, why and how formula. Number 1 is what. Clearly explain that what isn't working. For example, this layout feels cluttered with too many elements. Second, why. Help them understand that why it's an issue. Like when there are too many elements, the main message get lost and the user may not know where to focus. Third, how. Finally, suggest how to fix it. Try reducing a few elements or grouping similar items together to create more breathing space. This will help draw attention to the main call to action. I'll tell you why this works. Using this formula not only makes feedback actionable, but also helps juniors to understand the design principles behind it. इंस्टेड ऑफ फीलिंग क्रिटिसाइज्ड दे फील गाइडेड. सो इसी अप्रोच से जूनियर्स को कॉन्फिडेंटली ग्रो करने में मदद मिलती है. ओके, सो टू रैप अप द थिंग्स, रिमेंबर, feedback is a tool for growth, not a personal attack. Throughout this video, we have seen how feedback, whether it's a constructive, subjective, or vague, can actually be a game changer if we know how to handle it in the right way. Let's quickly recap what we have learned so far. First, understanding different types of feedback. Not all feedback is the same. Knowing the difference help you respond better, whether it's a constructive guidance or a vague comments that need a bit more clarification. Second, approaching feedback with the right mindset. It's natural to feel defensive sometimes, but a small shift in mindset, seeing feedback as a learning tool, can completely change your growth as a designer. Number third, turning feedback into actionable steps. Rather than getting overwhelmed, break feedback down into practical steps, even if it is simple as reworking a crowded layout or adjusting a color. Every small action counts. Number 4, giving feedback to others constructively. And if you are the one giving feedback, remember the what, why, how formula to make sure your advice is clear and helpful to others. So, design is a journey and feedback is the map that helps you navigate it. जब हम फीडबैक को एक अपॉर्चुनिटी के तौर पर देखेंगे, हम अपने पोटेंशियल को डिस्कवर करेंगे. So, every piece of feedback, constructive or critical, takes you one step closer to becoming the designer you aspire to be. So, what's the one thing you will do differently next time you get the feedback? Let me know in the comments, and if you found this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell icon. Also, feel free to give thumbs up, it always means a lot. I'll appreciate you watching. Design and Beyond signing off, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.